Alright. Yeah, so try natin tonight na wala na tayong shades. Pero medyo mapapansin niyo pa rin yung mata ko is not yet as, kumbaga as healed, but it's actually 80% there or like 70% there. Yeah, we'll still push through with this. Ah, Kasi kanina kakagaling ko lang sa sine, nanood kami ni wifey habang naka-shades ako. Nanood kami ng Ant-Man, okey. And then, hindi ko mahanap kung I mean, pag-uwi namin sa bahay hindi ko mahanap kung nasaan na yung shades for some reason. Kaya wala akong shades na masusuot sa live na 'to, but I still wanna push through with it, no real worries. So, this is, episode 3, season 2, episode 3 of, Kage Thoughts. Ah, ayan, ayan. So, nagpalit lang ako ng hindi ko mabasa yung Kage thoughts there. Anyway, so, season 3 sorry, season 2, episode 3 of Kage Thoughts, okay. And tonight, actually yung pag-uusapan natin, daming issues dito, about itong dalawa na 'to 'no. Basically, mas action taker ka ba, mas doer ka ba, okay, that's the first category, versus mas thinker ka ba. Okay, or mas on the side of kumbaga mas pinag-iisipan ko lang yung mga bagay 'no. So, from the words itself, very simplified naman. Mas nakikita na kaagad alam na kaagad natin kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa. And mas may natural tendencies tayo, every person, na nagta-touch on either ends of that spectrum. Even ngayon, malamang matatawa ka na sa sarili mo kasi just by comparing the two, okay, malalaman mo na kaagad kung ano yung mas natural sa'yo, eh. Kapag merong task at hand, kapag, merong pinapagawa sa'yo, kapag merong something that you are responsible for, ano ba yung mas unang ano, nangyayari? Mas you dive into thinking about it or mas nag-dive ka into actually doing something about it, okey? I'll be honest, ako ay mas thinker, okey? Now, ah, and of course there's the over part pa, 'di ba? Kung thinker ka puwedeng overthinker. Pero meron din namang such thing as overdoer. Hindi nga lang siya na-highlight masyado 'no. Kumbaga mas nakikita natin na mas problem ang kakaisip versus, kakagawa, okey. But okey, both of them, every end of the spectrum will always have their own sets of pros and cons, okey? If there's ever like an underlying thing kung bakit tina-touch on ko 'tong mga 'to, kasi I'm kinda hoping as we get to see more of ourselves, our patterns, uh, will also grow a bit or puwede ring malaki kaagad 'no, but we'll grow in embracing ourselves more. We'll grow in basically accepting kung nasaan tayo as of now and, pushing towards how to maximize kung sino tayo, kung ano yung natural sa'tin versus just trying to tweak it right away, okey? Kasi it's like the world is a toolbox, okey, and then iba-iba tayong klase ng tools, okey? But you won't really know, kung paano gamitin yung isang, let's say, hammer if the hammer is not in situations kung saan puwede niyang magawa yung function niya. Okey? So, kung walang pako, wala ka naman talagang pupukpukin. Puwede namang may pako dun tapos screwdriver yung pinangpupukpok mo pero, well, siyempre iba yung functionality nun, okey? Like, what I'm trying to do here with like this, at least one of the things kasi these are many things at all at once. At least one of the things that we may get out of this is learning to embrace ourselves more, loving ourselves more, and maybe maximizing kung ano yung mas natural sa'tin. Kaysa baguhin natin ng baguhin pero hindi natin nahahanap yung proper context of where we can actually be the most useful, okey? So, doers versus thinkers, okey? Taking action versus thinking, right? Let's dive into intensity 'no, intensity nung, dalawang side na yun. So, when we say intensity, well, spectrums pa rin yan 'no. So, meron kang normal level lagi sa gitna, and then yung isa is, uh, under and then over, okey? So, puwede kang mag-underperform, puwede rin naman mag-overperform. That's on taking action. Sa thinking level naman, so there's the normal, okey, like gitna, and puwede ka ring mag-underthink, puwede kang mag-overthink. And iba't iba yung sitwasyon kung saan meron kang, bandwidth to do both, okey? But there's also in every situation merong area of need, okey? Ano yung necessary, ano yung necessity, okey? Kasi minsan hindi naman natin kailangan mag-overperform, okey? Minsan kahit mag-underperform ka, puwede pa ring ma-hit yung, goal, puwede pa ring ma-hit yung mga bagay na tina-try mong i-accomplish, okey? Minsan hindi mo kailangang mag-overthink, okey? Puwedeng hindi mo masyadong pag-isipan yung mga bagay pero ma-achieve mo pa rin what's needed, okey? But the key is to do dun sa actual na sitwasyon mo, ano yung kailangan? Ano yung kailangan? Ano yung metric? Ano yung, something that you're aiming for? Eh, unless we actually identify kung ano yung necessary, ano yung kailangan, ano yung actual need, it's gonna be hard to gauge mas alin ba yung kailangan nating effortan. on what side 'no, and ano yung adjustments na kailangan rin nating gawin in between those two ends of the spectrum of thinking and doing, okey? So, yung clarity natin sa kailangan for one situation is what determines ano yung pinaka-useful na adjustment between the two, right? But of course, kung kung merong mga bagay that you're doing with other people, okey, may ka-combo ka, meron kang kasama, okey, knowing kung ano yung mas natural sa'yo, mas dun ka rin puwedeng mag-build on top of that value, eh. Pero knowing kung nasaan din kung ano yung natural para sa iba, dun ka naman puwedeng mag-set ng agreements with them, okey? So next is timeline. Next is timeline. Ano yung kailangan? And then, how long do you actually have to fulfill what's needed? Okey. How long do you actually have to fulfill what's needed? In the context of solo mode na work, personal deadlines or deadlines set for you by other people pero may kailangan kang gawin. Um, it's good to cycle things, okey. Cycle in the sense na, kung meron kang mas natural sa'yo, example, mas doer ka, okey. Pero ang usual na pitfall kapag doer is less strategy, okey. With less strategy, the efficiency of, how you're doing things, yun yung naapektuhan. So, we tend to use more energy or put in more effort than what's actually needed, okey. Not at all bad, pero depende yun kung, ah, let's say this as an example. I used to be a workaholic. Now, at this day and age, like I'm 33 years old, I'm more of a thinker, okey. Ever since naman yun talaga, okey. Pero puwede kong pilitin yung sarili ko, especially in the earlier years of me doing freelancing, freelance work and side hustles, magkasabay yan. Compromise yung tulog and sobrang onti ng time for socialization outside of a work context. Kasi sobrang yung mga work naman na ginagawa ko before and side hustles enables me to travel, enables me to speak with different types of people. Pero lahat yun in the context of like being in the field. So, hindi siya talaga friends, hindi siya socialization, okey. Ang nangyayari is may kausap akong mga tao, so the social side is fulfilled pa rin, pero context pa rin 'yan ng work. Um, Di ko alam if you can imagine this with me, for the people who actually know me right now kung gaano kaonti yung oras na ginagamit ko talaga for actual work. Um, Before, pinaka-intense, I used to work 16-hour days. As an overdoer, I would say overdoer talaga, okey? So that's because I wanted to prove something when it comes to earning, eh, but I was trading most of my, uh, gosh, di ko pala na-on yung timer ko. Okey, still have like 15 minutes. Right. Ah, okey. So, as a person na mas thinker talaga ako pero nag-lean ako towards doing things kasi that's what I thought was the best mode for me back then, or yun yung pine-present na options sa akin nung mga panahon na yun and I just had to go with it 'no, kasi survival is at stake. Aside from proving na like I can do something with my life and all that. Um, so 16-hour days, 16-hour shifts of both, there was a time na dalawang freelancing clients yun na full-time. There was time na may freelancing and then gigising ako, hindi na pala ako matutulog, rekta na yun, magtu-tour guide ako for the whole day, okey. So may mga gano'n na ano, na scenarios with what I was doing events hosting, like wedding singing, wedding singer gigs, like, gigs sa banda. there were different side hustles that I was doing na offline. Hindi lang basta digital freelancing, 'no. So, doer talaga ako nung mga panahon na yun. It's what the situation called for. But I actually did not know na, ah, puwede ko palang mas i-leverage yung natural sa'kin, which is the thinking side, okey. So, I'm saying this kasi, um, yung iba sa'tin napipilitan na mag-touch on the other side based on the situation we're in, based on the options that we have, okey? And that's totally fine. I did it. I did it for years on end. But the world we're living in right now honors people na ini-embrace yung uniqueness nila. And part of that uniqueness, you can build on top of that uniqueness. Part of that uniqueness is this, na mas natural ba sa'yo mag-isip versus gumawa? Okay, I would I would, uh, translate this on a business context. Mas normal ba sa'yo mag-strategize or mag-execute ng strategy, okay? Um, I gave this quick framework kapag kausap ko yung clients ko kasi I do consulting work right now as my freelance thing, and I'm being paid for strategy. I'm being paid for my thinking, and it comes naturally to me, and it's just way easier. And I brand myself as tamad, hindi dahil I can't execute. If push comes to shove, I can still perform. Alam ko yung limits ko and kaya ko magsipag. But I'd rather not do more work than I should. And that's a personal preference right now. I reject more. May nagtanong dito, naka-sharingan ka ba Kage? I was actually in sorry madi-distract ako. I was actually in a dinner with Moki kanina tsaka kasama si Jamie, kasama din si Tin. And sabi ko yun nga, baka na-unlock ko na yung sharingan ko kaya nangyayari 'to sa mata ko. Anyway, so going back, ah, now I'm paid for my thinking, and it's just like way more effortless basically, effortless. Um, and that being said, yung highest point of leverage natin will be kung mas nasan tayo nagle-lean on these sides of the spectrum. Okay, when I say spectrum, hindi lang 'tong taking action and, like thinking, lahat ng spectrum sa pinag-uusapan natin sa season 2 ng Kage Thoughts, okey. So, you may want to watch sa YouTube yung ano, yun yung mas organized na andun yung lahat ng episodes, yeah, moving forward. Anyway, there are times in my life na mas kaya kong maging doer, push comes to shove, or kaya ko pa ring mag-perform, even overperform. Kasi nate-test ko rin yung limits ko from time to time. As long as I have a proper setup, and then I have a system in place, and, malinaw din kung paano ko re-reviewhin yung work ko afterwards. All of that are crucial elements for me to perform kahit mas naturally thinker ako, right? Now on the other side, if mas naturally doer ka, okay, executing work, okay, here's what I found out to be most efficient for people like this, especially if you're diving into entrepreneurship, building something of your own. Okay. You work best with business partners who can strategize. If you don't want to dive into the thinking side of things, you want to be in the actual operations of things and do things like that, totally fine. You work better with a strategist, and then yung pina-perform mo na work, that's actually a guide for others. Okay? So ako, thinker ako, I partner with people who execute better, na they really enjoy doing the nitty-gritty work. It's not just about capability kasi, it's about ano yung nararamdaman mo kapag mas nata mo yung natural sa'yo. Kapag it's effortless, Okay, but real quick, there's a downside to this. You can kapag madali sa'yo yung isang bagay kasi mas natural siya sa'yo, ibang usapan pa yung tipong how much you're charging for it, eh. Because one of the tendencies I've seen, you downplay what's easy for you. You downplay the value of what's easy for you. When in actuality, kung ano yung madali sa'yo, hindi necessarily madali rin sa iba. Yeah. And example, if I'm building a business, I'm a thinker, and then I partner with a doer. Yung thinking ko, it doesn't usually come naturally sa kanya. Yung doing niya doesn't usually come naturally to me. Therefore, mas may compatibility kami. Mas may combo kaming puwedeng mabuo that fills in the gaps ng kulang sa amin on the other side. If I'm working with clients as a strategist, okay, with consulting, hinahanap ko yung mga clients na meron na talaga silang ginagawa ngayon, and part of that is already working na. I used to touch with consulting, I used to touch a lot, of, clients na nagsisimula pa lang ng businesses. The pattern, I couldn't charge as high because their resources are not yet in place. If only ibe-base yung resources sa current business venture. But if they are actually, like, capable people with, like, money to spare from their own pocket and hindi yung business funds lang yung pagkukunan nila, I can charge something that's more worth my time and expertise. Pero yung pattern nga usually, I was actually serving them and nagse-settle ako for less with the strategy kasi wala pa naman talaga silang working something, okey? And mas marami yung trabaho na kailangan kong gawin because I was building strategy for them from scratch. As opposed to when I'm working with people that already has results, already has resources to deploy, already has moving systems that just need tweaking, that just need an extra set of eyes and thinking capacity to spot the gaps. What happens is, mas onti yung kailangan kong gawin. And I only need to point out kung ano yung mga bagay na hindi pa nila napapansin o hindi pa nila nakikita. I'm merely there to uncover stuff. I don't need to build things from scratch. But surprisingly, they pay me more for doing less. And that's one area of leverage. Okay. Sa thinking na side. Sa doing na side, it's usually this. Uh, the actual execution systems. Okay, yung strategy kasi basically, um, hinuhuli mo lang kung puwedeng binubuo mo o binubuo mo what makes it work potentially, okey? Pero malalaman mo lang talaga yung actual data kapag in-execute na yung strategy or kung meron mang itu-tweak doon sa current strategy, it will make sense kapag na-narrow down ng maayos ano yung dapat baguhin. Pero makikita pa rin talaga in the actual execution of things kung magwo-work yun and up to what point yung results, and gaano katagal, okey. Execution is crucial kasi this now provides actual data doon sa doon sa strategy. Kasi merong action na kailangan gawin for the strategy to be tested, okey. So walang 100% foolproof strategy, especially in an ever shifting world with other businesses and markets and trends and all that. Merong hangganan kung hanggang saan siya pinaka-efficient, okey. So eventually, magre-re-strategize yung isang negosyo and magkakaroon na ng new set of execution na kailangan i-deploy for that re-strategy, right? So, um, if you are a doer, if you are really good at execution, okey, pinapabilis mo kung paano puwedeng ma-test yung strategy ng isang business. It's not really all about results, okey? It's not really all about results. And pag-uusapan din natin yan sa isa pang episode ng Spectrums 'no. But basically as a business owner, as a service provider, as someone who serves specific markets like people and all, provides solutions. Yes, outcomes are really good, like making promises for specific outcomes, like mga sure ball na pwede mong magawa for them. Like, if that's a foolproof thing, go ahead, right? But 100% the results will not always be the same for everyone. Right? There's always an element of risk, always an element of the unexpected, of things na like di mo naman talaga alam kung magagawa in the way that you envision it to be. Okay? And this being said, faster execution. Like, what's the quickest version of what you can do for others that can give them the best data possible to make future decisions from. Okay. Now, if you can develop enough skills to both harness strategy and execution within the dynamic of what you're doing for others, well and good. Kung ano man yung percentage of that. Because these spectrums, I'm talking about yung two ends eh. Pero there are also people na nasa may 30% strategy, 70% execution. Puwede rin namang 50-50, hati talaga, 'di ba? The spectrums are there as a guide to gauge kung nasan ka between the two. Though for most people merong mas nangingibabaw pa rin for them. So, it's good to start things with kung ano yung mas nangingibabaw sa'yo and also build on top of build your communication on top of what's more natural for you, but at the same time cover your bases and know kung hanggang saan ka pwede mag-shift in the makeup of what you actually offer as a solution for other people, right? So ako strategy person, but when I consult with clients, I upsell agency services when we had an agency before. Kasi within the agency, there are people way better at execution than me. So I'm basically purely strategy. Hindi naman dahil hindi ako 100% on the thinking side. Nakakapag-execute din ako. I would probably say it's an 80-20 thing. It's just less preferable. Okay? So, mina-maximize ko lang yung strategy, consultations, and then I upsell agency services if pasok yung kailangan nila within the scope of the strategy na nagawa namin with consulting. Or ipapasok ko sa iba kong kakilala na puwedeng tumulong sa kanilang i-execute yung strategy that we actually came up with. And sa agency, of course, I earn something from that. My sales commission, I'm paid as a consultant, and I'm also paid as, basically kung ano yung profit share. When it comes naman sa pagpasa ko sa ibang tao ng opportunity kasi I can't execute on that, I also get a share, a commission, a referral fee from the, basically kung ano yung magiging transaction value of that, okay? And on a yearly basis, part of my income goal, merong porsiyento ako na sine-set that's usually 15 to 20% of all my earnings per year. Required siya na manggaling sa pag-refer ng ibang tao. It's a challenge that I this is my 6th year of doing so. Na, 15 to 20% of all my earnings needs to come from referrals. That's how I do it. That's how I challenge myself. Gosh, nag-overtime na pala ako. Anyway, so That's it for season 2, episode 3 of Kage Thoughts. Thinking versus doing. I hope you got something out of that. And yeah, just a final invite for people. Kaka-revive ko lang ng group ko in Facebook. So that's a like mini community. And let me just comment the link to that in case you want to join. This is called the School of Life Systems. And okay, hindi ko alam kung paano 'to i-post. Ayun, mukhang na-post na. Yeah, so I'm just pinning that. And then the idea with this, you can join the community. It's a free group. Every day, I'm just gonna dump some prompts there one to two times in a day on weekdays. So full pahinga ako on social stuff pag weekends. But yeah, you can probably learn a thing or two. Just minor tweaks. Um, usually Usually akala natin big changes, kailangan big din yung efforts na i-put natin into it. Not necessarily. Sometimes 'di ba, yung mas maliit yun yung nakakapuwing. Small stuff can be impactful, but it's based on your purpose and intention. So, yun lang naman as of now. Bukas, I'll just announce kung ano yung magiging topic, pero I'm still playing around with it, so I don't know yet. For now, that's it. Thank you for watching and cheers.